Thankskilling 3. This is a movie I've been wanting to do for a very long time. Now, I remember I said this is a lot like dinner with your family. Let me explain that for those of you who have seen Thankskilling 3 and are going, it is nothing like dinner with your family. Let me explain. Now, Thanksgiving dinner, there are certain types of people. And these people are as follows. There's the person who's really into rap music. There's the person who is really into Thanksgiving. They typically wear a pilgrim hat. And there are people at Thanksgiving 3 who are really into Thanksgiving. There's the person who has lost their mind. That is typically some older relative who has just lost their mind and doesn't know what's going on anymore. And then there was someone who was really, really mean, and you really didn't want to invite, but you didn't want to leave out because, they'd just be really, really mean to you then. But they're going to be really mean to you anyways. And we have all these people in Thankskilling 3. And then you have the gay person who's trying to cover up the fact that they're gay, but finally admits it. And then a really, really mean person makes fun of the gay person. Once again, all these people are in Thankskilling 3. So let's get started. Thankskilling 3, we see Thankskilling 2 at the beginning, which we then find out is the worst movie ever made, which makes me want to watch Thankskilling 2 and do a review of it. And then we see all the copies being destroyed, except for one, which we would not see that copy till later. And then we see a robot come down from space and see the copies that are destroyed with a worm. And then we see our hero who has lost their mind, named Yomi. And then we finally cut to Turkey, who finds out all of Thankskilling 2's copies have been destroyed except for one, which the studio threw in the trash. He then murders his wife and tells his son it's time to be evil. And then we see Yomi again in the trash meeting Uncle Donnie, who has invented the Pluckmaster 3000 and is really into Thanksgiving, including wearing a colonial wig, which the pilgrims didn't wear. But whatever, Uncle Donnie. He's Uncle Donnie. The pilgrims also didn't call themselves Uncle Donnie. Pilgrims also didn't celebrate Thanksgiving except for the slaughtering of Indians. But whatever. We didn't celebrate Thanksgiving until Abe Lincoln. But whatever, he's Uncle Donnie. And Uncle Donnie, and she sees something saying Uncle Donnie can give you peace of mind. She also gets Thanksgiving 2 from a talking garbage bag. So we see the realism in this movie. So she may have lost her mind, and she may be crazy as fuck, but we don't know which one. So Uncle Donnie decides to take her home and show her Thanksgiving. And then we meet the rapping grandma, who is also a puppet, like Yomi, but somehow birthed the human son. It's a miracle. He is like Jesus, only he's a lot more of a dick. And he carries a broomstick with a butter knife on it, because he's head of security for Thanksgiving Land, which doesn't exist yet. And then Uncle Donnie and Yomi show up, and Broomstick Guy tries to cut off Yomi's hand and says, we can't cut off little kids' hands in Thanksgiving Land, then he can't be head of security. He sounds like the perfect head of security for any theme park, because little kids need their hands cut off. And if you don't agree with that, you've never babysat a little kid. You'll also agree that they need duct tape to a wall sometimes. So then he gets killed by Turkey, who arrives there after killing his son and sending his soul out to find Thanksgiving 2. Thankskilling 2. I don't know why I keep calling it Thanksgiving 2. They haven't made Thanksgiving 2 yet, and Thanksgiving sucked. So he gets killed. But Uncle Donnie and Yomi and the rapping grandma and Thankskilling 2 escape through the pantry where they meet Old Turkey. And Old Turkey tells them the story of Turkey, which I'm not going to go into at this time, and tells Uncle Donnie to take care of Yomi, while Rapping Granny raps her son's eulogy. Then they go back, and Muff finally shows up after Turkey is about to get the DVD with his son's soul in it, and he shoots Turkey. And then they send him through the Pluckmaster 1, pretty much crippling Turkey. And then they open up a vortex to space, and it's all over. Except they don't send the DVD through the vortex. Instead, Turkey summons skeletal turkeys. And we get Luigi's Mansion. The music hits. That that organ music hits. And a turkey now has a chainsaw for a dick. And he makes Rapping Granny suck it. And he cuts off Yomi's hand. And he escapes through the oven. Well, Yomi sees her mind in the oven. So her and Rhonda the worm go into the oven in disguises, which that and a few bucks allow them to escape the skeleton guards, because skeletons are notoriously stupid. They're almost as stupid as zombies, but zombies eat brains, so they're smarter than skeletons. That's a proven fact. But then Turkey has the DVD in, and his curse is unleashed. But don't worry, Yomi grabs the DVD, and then Turkey unleashes Franken Turkey. He doesn't want to be called Franken Turkey. He wants to be called Gary. But don't worry, Gary is after them. And so is Turkey. But they kill Franken Turkey. At least Muff kills Franken Turkey, but Turkey is still there. And then Rhonda dies, the worm. So Muff kills himself because he accidentally killed Rhonda. And then it's a final face-off. But then Rhonda comes back to life and opens the vortex. Turkey goes in it. The DVD goes in it. Yomi goes in it. Uncle Donnie goes in it and sees the future and knows what Thanksgiving Land needs. Okay, Uncle Donnie does not actually go in it. Just the whole cast and crew does not go in this thing. Just Turkey, the DVD, and Yomi, because her mind's in it. And then Uncle Donnie cries. And then Thanksgiving Land is open a year later, a day later. A day later, Donnie buys Thanksgiving Land. And that's the end of the movie. I skipped out on a bunch of shit. But, you just have to watch the movie. It is weird as fuck. And it is great. It is probably one of the greatest films about turkeys killing people. Well, it's better than the first one. It is one of the greatest Thanksgiving horror movies ever made. Thankskilling 3. It's on Tubi. So, see you next week. The movies for next month are all Christmas related. Except once Christmas ends, and then we'll do a New Year's movie. And then wrestling show will not probably be Christmas related except for Christmas. So see you later.